Did you watch it? No, not the Super Bowl. The trailers that dropped during the Super Bowl. Flash was insane. I mean, my favorite Batman of all time, Michael Keaton, well, he rocked up, and then people lost their minds when we finally saw a new Supergirl. Okay, it's kind of sad that it completely overshadowed the Guardians of the Galaxy, their trailer, but this is what I've always wanted. Real competition between these two powerhouses. And Gunn and Safran are bringing the fire. Well, with what they propose to bring. So we're going to break it all down a little, talk about the other stories that broke this week, and try and tie that back to comic spec of highlighting what's hot and what's not. But first, can I please ask you to like and subscribe to the channel? Tell your friends about it. Share it with them. I mean, if you want to keep up to date with what's happening in the geek world, just stick around till right after the intro and we're going to get into it. Welcome back, everyone. Another epic week in the geek multiverse. And where do I even begin? It seems like ever since James Gunn made his announcements for the new DC slate of projects and their Chapter 1, there's been mounting pressure on Marvel's golden boy, Kevin Feige. Last week, I spoke about him making excuses for how the poor performance of Phase 4, saying that they were experimenting with what might work and what the fans would like. Unfortunately, we've seen some dismal reviews of Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania so far, with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 53%, which worried me. I mean, global box office sales for the opening weekend are expected to be around $280 million. And I think there's a problem because Marvel has used this movie as a building block project rather than an awesome standalone movie. We know that Kang won't be defeated and he's going to be the big bad villain for a while to come. What I found cool was that the director confirmed that that dome city we saw in Ant-Man and the Wasp was actually a nod to the civilization in Quantumania. And if you remember in the first movie, the villain was Yellow Jacket. Now, I've spoken about him before, but his first appearance is in Avengers issue 59 from 1968. But the actor that played that role, Corey Stoll, well, he's back and he's going to be playing the role of MODOK. And he's super excited. I mean, I love MODOK. His first appearance is in Tales of Suspense issue 94. Now, do you know what MODOK actually stands for? Okay, so big ups if you do. If not, wait till the end of the show and I'll give you the answer. The next big Marvel movie coming out will be Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think that's on May 5th. So this little character from the trailer, well, we know his name is Blurp. Sylvester Stallone will have a bigger role to play than he did in Volume 2. And the rumors have been flying about that this might be the end of the Guardians. Personally, I'm going to be super pissed if anything happens to Rocket, but I've heard that this might open the door for new characters like Adam Warlock and Nova to take over. Stephen Broussard, who's directing the new Wonder Man series, said that this is going to be something quite different and unexpected. Maybe he's going to experiment with mixed media, but I'm excited because the actor playing Simon Williams, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, he is a phenomenal actor. He also said that Young Avengers, so this is Broussard, well, he's looking at a project to be made somewhere down the line, and that makes me really happy because I've been specking on the comics for quite a while. Bob Iger, the Disney CEO, threw some shade at the MCU and Kevin Feige. I think one of the biggest criticisms Kevin has faced this week was that if a new person's trying to get into the MCU and pick up from somewhere, it's extremely difficult. And there are just too many series that link into movies and one shots, and it just seems overwhelming and slightly daunting. I mean, that does make sense, especially with James Gunn rebooting his whole DC universe and wiping the slate clean, kind of starting fresh. So Kevin Feige was rather vocal this week, and we heard quite a bit from him. He announced that he's going to slow the whole MCU train down and quite a bit. So we were used to getting series after series and things leading into each other, but now that looks like it's going to be cut to only 2 to 3 projects a year. So lots of the projects I was looking forward to, it looks like they're going to be pushed back and delayed significantly. The only ones we know we'll be getting this year are Loki Season 2 and Secret Invasion, because they tie directly into the bigger storyline that they're building. One of the other projects he spoke about was Fantastic Four, and that's going to be a big pillar of the new Phase 5 and 6. So it's going to be an integral part of the MCU going forward. We saw him on the Hollywood red carpet this week with Robert Downey Jr., celebrating Jon Favreau as he got his star on Hollywood Boulevard and the Walk of Fame. Kevin also said that Marvel have finished writing Spider-Man 4. They just have to put pen to paper and finalize it. He did give small updates on Daredevil Born Again, and that Blade 2 will be shooting in 2 months' time. I think that was in an interview he gave to Entertainment Weekly. He said he knows exactly when mutants will be fully introduced. Now, we know Kamala mentioned genetic mutation in Ms. Marvel, and then we heard that 90s animated X-Men sound snippet, and Namor referred to himself as a mutant amongst his own people. But Kevin teased that he knows exactly when we're going to get the X-Men in the MCU, and that's all he'd say about it. He also said that he got the chills while watching the team-up of Ms. Marvel, Monica Rambeau as Spectrum, and Captain Marvel that were reminiscent of the original Avengers getting together for the first time. And I hope that's right, because I watched Avengers again the other day, and it still gave me chills. Just the music and the build-up. Oh. Last week's news was dominated by DC spec. So I don't want to spend too long on it this week. I suppose the projects I'm really looking forward to are Peacemaker 2. And Gunn has said that it's just been postponed and delayed slightly, not cancelled. I mean, that's another one of his passion projects. We had our first look at Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn in Joker 2 with Joaquin Phoenix. And I don't know how to feel about this, because it's going to be a musical with her singing. And I'm generally not a fan of musicals, but I'll give it a go anyway. I know Brendan Fraser wants back into the DC after the Batgirl movie was shelved and Doom Patrol was cancelled about 2 weeks ago. I'm excited for Constantine 2 with Keanu Reeves, and we found out this week that it'll pick up and use pieces from the first movie. Now remember, that came out in 2005. And let's quickly talk about the Flash trailer and how it might relate to comics. So the highlight for me had to be seeing Michael Keaton back as Batman. And I'll get into all those fan theories next week. But in terms of comic, there was an introduction of a new Supergirl. While I suppose everyone's looking for Batman Superman issue 8, because it's the appearance of a new Supergirl, and we saw prices start to spike on that one. And don't get me wrong, I love it, especially that Michael Turner cover art. But I have all 3 prints of that one. But considering the movie focuses on parallel universes, I think issue 24 is a clever book to spec on and pick up really cheap now, because it hasn't jumped in price. It's the issue where everyone is gender swapped, and I always loved it because it was just so different. But if you look at the Supergirl on the cover, I can see similarities to the one in the trailer. I also like Flashpoint, the miniseries, and it's a character I hope they adopt. So in issue 5, there's a character called Pandora, and it's one of the new amazing characters that was developed by DC before the new 52 run in 2011. So I'm hoping they bring her in, and it's a big one. I think the worst part of me doing these videos is that I get totally caught up in the hype and spec. So I go hunting for random spec books that, well, might never pay off, but I think they're too cool not to have. And since I'm pretty sure they will go up in time, I end up getting 2 or 3 copies. I mean, for example, Defenders issue 32, and that's the first appearance of a random small character called Ruby Thursday. But a friend mentioned her because she's in the new Guardians of the Galaxy game. So very often I have to try and keep myself in check with what I buy. And then down the line, I'll kick myself saying, why didn't I get more? A crazy example was I got Edge of Spider-Verse issue 2, the comic bug variant. Now, I got 10 copies from a friend in the States because he had overstock. And back then, like Spider-Gwen wasn't a thing yet because it was like a month later. So I ended up giving away 6 of them for free to people as prizes. And now I saw they're around $450 each. So talk about kicking myself. But let's close out the Marvel news quickly. Harrison Ford will now apparently be playing the president in Captain America: A New World Order. Now, this one completely blows all previous spec of him being Red Hulk a little off track, unless they intend to have the US president turn into a raging red monster. I'm still a little confused because I saw that he'd be replacing the late William Hurt, and William Hurt played General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. So let's see what they do. A new rumor popped up that an Iron Man variant from Earth 838 is still out there, and that drove spec again this week for Superior Iron Man issue 1. So we saw those prices go up again, and let's end it on my favorite hero, anti-hero again, Deadpool. So in Deadpool 3, it's going to be the first R-rated movie in the MCU. And we heard that Emma Corrin, so she acted in The Crown, she's been cast to play a new villain. So the spec is currently either her playing Danger or Spiral. My favorite piece of news, though, would have to be that Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen will possibly come back into the movie as Professor X and Magneto. This is going to be the best movie ever. And hopefully I'll have some exciting news from GWR to share with you soon. Well, that's it for me, everyone. I'm going to have to get into some of those indie comics to look out for next week, because this week we saw a few properties being optioned and greenlit, like Butterfly and Criminal. I know Amazon announced that there'd be a new series. Oh yeah, I did say I'd tell you what MODOK stands for. So it's Mental Organism Designed Only for Killing. So thanks everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hopefully see you back here next week for another episode of I Heard a Rumor. Oh, I wanted to show you this before you go. So I got this when it first came out, and check out the lenticular cover. So people are now speccing on it because it's Flash and Batman, the button. And this lenticular was just done really well. And Tom King, obviously he's big, the hot stuff at the moment. And Tom King signed this with Jason Fabok. So very happy. And yeah. Till next time, guys, I'll catch you on the side of the flipping. Okay, bye.